Oh, I don't. There's nothing to see here.
We have to see mine and we have to see yours.
Oh, all right, duly noted. Duly noted.
Vera and Tootie to trade me places because they're like this on the TV screen.
That's fine. I look little. That makes me look littler.
That's what, I want to go over there.
Yeah. I should trade with Tootie and I look a lot littler.
See, Josh, move the TV screen a little bit, you can barely see Diana.
Diane doesn't care either. I don't care.
No, you gotta see me, you gotta see you.
I know what you mean.
No, I just looked down Washington as I drove past when we were in town and the new
As long as you can
asphalt
see the
was nice.
podium. Keep
Yeah,
going.
I can see it. I can
Keep
see it
going.
from my street.
Get over here.
Yeah,
That's good.
But I should walk to the end.
Get over here.
yeah. I think we're getting a lot of progress. I'm not sure quite
Yeah,
where
she
we're at,
scared me.
but it's getting done.
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
Someday.
Main Street next year.
Hopefully I'll still be around.
Okay, let's hit 5 minutes, guys, not 10.
So where are they at?
7:05, you have to
Smoking
get
out back? Oh.
Look at the comments.
Hold on, I shouldn't say. Hey, you're late. We're ready.
We said 4 minutes, not 10.
See, you just allowed you to cook.
That's you.
Okay, here we go. We're going to go ahead and start this city council meeting agenda for Tuesday, August 10th, 2021 at 7:05.
All right. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Roll call.
Arturo de la Fuente,
Here.
Yuri Zavala,
Here.
Sophia Sotelo,
Here.
Diana Cassidy.
Here.
Has anybody heard from Mark?
No, ma'am.
So we need a motion from Mark. Excused or unexcused?
I make a motion not to excuse Mark, he hasn't called in.
I second the motion. All right.
I have a motion by Sophie and seconded by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. Okay,
Who seconded that, I'm sorry?
it was Tootie.
Two.
Mhm. Not excuse. Okay, we need to vote in the meeting agenda, amending, adding G, establishing position for customer service clerk.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition of new business G, establishing new position for the customer service clerk.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Sophie, seconded by Vera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. We have any visitors online?
At this time, we have no visitors wishing to make comments.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I want to make sure that we have that right on the agenda. the amendment should have been just of the agenda, not the consent agenda. And I think that was clear from what was intended. But then you should also adopt the consent agenda through separate motion.
Okay. Right now,
Is that where we are on the sheet? I don't have it in front of me, but usually it's right after the approval of the agenda.
okay, so we are going to.
Because we have, aren't there a number of items on the consent agenda that we're just adopting without individual review, right?
Correct. The consent agenda is before the new business.
Yeah.
So have Sophie do the consent agenda now on a motion, just approve the consent agenda. And that'll take care of that, and we're on good turf then.
So I need a motion for the consent agenda.
Can I make a motion to approve the consent agenda A through F?
Yeah.
I have a motion by Sophie, seconded by Diana. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. Public hearing, we don't have one. Old business, we have none. New business, approval of Yakima Valley Conference of Governments Professional Services Agreement, amendment number 2. Again, this is on page 13. This is a difference of $795 due to the Mapped and Shoreline Master Plan update.
So I make a motion to approve Yakima Valley Conference of Governments Professional Service Agreement Amendment number 2.
I have a motion by Sophie, seconded by Tuli. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. Next one. Approval of Resolution 2021-14, authorizing the mayor to sign the employment agreement with Juan Alvarez for the position of Public Works Director. Again, that's on page 18.
So I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-14.
I second the motion.
I have a motion by Sophie and seconded by Diana. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. Next, approval of change order number 1, City Park Sidewalk Improvement Project in the amount of $1,000. That's on page 22. And this $1,000 is a rebate that they gave us back for our sprinkler system that was damaged by them.
So I'll make a motion to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $1,000.
I second the motion.
I have a motion by Sophie, seconded by Diana. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. D, acceptance of the City Park Sidewalk Improvement Project as complete. That's page 23. Oh,
Yes, sir.
What's that? Did you go
I
ahead?
didn't see, I drove the north side of the park.
Uh-huh.
I drove back and forth twice, and I got out and walked it, and I didn't see any gaps.
Okay, they might have fixed it then.
Yeah, you know, if it was on the punch list, we're going back and forth looking on the punch list.
Oh, okay.
So there are a few greens on corners, but it's from traffic.
Yeah.
People catching corners. So, yeah, I didn't see it. If you see it, let me know.
Okay, no problem then.
Any other questions?
any other questions? Okay, so for the record, earlier in the study session, Arturo had a question about the sidewalk project, that he had saw a piece of the sidewalk that had broken off. So Jamin just went and checked and he didn't find it, but him and Tootie was having a discussion on that. Okay, so if Tootie sees it, then he'll let me know and we'll,
Because he didn't see it.
yeah, because he didn't see it. Okay, That was the discussion from earlier, guys.
So I make a motion to acceptance of the City Park Sidewalk Improvements Project as completed.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion on this? Okay, I have a motion by Sophie, seconded by Diana. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. Approval of Resolution 2021-15, accepting the Regional Mobility Grant from the Washington State Department of Transportation. This is on page 25. And this is for our park and ride. This amount will be $242,250 minus 20% of $48,250.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2021-15.
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? I have a motion by Sophie, seconded by Vera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any? I'm a brain fart. Okay, any opposed? Motion approved. Okay. We're going to do F. Second, no, F first. EF. She's next. Okay. Is our second quarter financial report. That is on page, it's like at the very end.
41, page 41.
41, thank you.
Thank you guys for
Jameson?
allowing me to push this back a week, or a council meeting.
Jameson, you want to take over here?
Yes. So as you'll see on page 41, there is an update after the second quarter, which would be through the end of June, for our revenues. The bright green bar is our actuals for this year. The lighter blue bar is the actuals at this time of the year last year. And then the light green bar is 50% of the budget, which just gives us an idea because we're 50% through the year. So the main thing to point out on our revenues is that if you look at the general fund, our revenues are way higher than expected. And that is because we have received our first tranche deposit of the American Rescue Plan Act funds. Now those funds, we still haven't decided how we're going to use them. I've been attending a lot of trainings to figure out what exactly we need to do in order to use those funds. And that includes setting up written policies and procedures for how we are going to decide how to use the money and for actually using the money. So there will be a process to go through before we can actually expend any of that ARPA money, but it is sitting in our bank right now. Let me think. There's not really anything else notable on the revenue side aside from, as you'll notice in the street and the water funds, we're not even close to 50%, but that's because those funds both have capital projects that we hadn't paid out on yet. The water fund, I'm not sure how far we may or may not get into well 7 this year, but that's part of the revenue budget because we would be reimbursed funds from that. So that's pretty much it for the revenue side. The next page, page 42, is our expenditures. And same thing. So that red bar is what we've expended year to date at the end of June. The light blue bar is what we had expended last year at the same time. And then the green bar is 50% of budget. So in the general fund, you'll notice that our expenditures are actually down from last year and less than 50%. A lot of that is due to lack of police chief personnel issues. So that is where we've had some general fund savings at this time. You'll notice that the cemetery fund is over, it's 50%. We did have some irrigation replacements we had to do there. Let me think, what other one is higher? The water fund is significantly higher than we were at this time last year. And that is because of some repairs that we've had to do to some of the pumps that have gone in. Also, we just have more personnel coming out of that line item than we did last year, but we're still well below 50% because of that capital project. And then the next page, that's pretty much it for expenditures, unless somebody has a question. The next page is our overall fund balances for the end of June of this year, so the end of Q2. So you'll see the general fund obviously has increased by $451,000 in the bank. And that's again due to the ARPA funds that we've received as revenue, and a decrease in expenditures due to an open police chief position. The other funds are looking pretty good. Our water fund has taken in a little more than we've spent so far. Same with our sewer, but some of that's because of transfers that haven't gone through yet. And so our total fund amounts we're actually up by $539,236.89 in our total financial plan balance. So I would happily answer any questions that anybody has about this. But I would say we are looking pretty good compared to our budget. Obviously, we will have to do a budget amendment before the end of the year, and possibly one even sooner. But we're on track for what we've planned for.
You guys have any questions for her? It's looking pretty good. I don't know if she's like, the city streets is still upside down and the city sewer is still upside down, but compared to the numbers 3 years ago, they've come down significantly. I mean, we're less in the hole today than we was 3 years ago. So it's, like we said at the very beginning, it's going to take us years to get out of that negative in those two, but they are coming down little by little. So
Some of these monies that we got, that, what is that, 600,000 or whatever, is that some of that money that's being used on this?
yeah, that money is in here. It's how much did we get, Jameson? 200,000. How much did we get for
the ARPA money that we actually got? I want to say 316,000 this year, and then I will get the same amount next year. And we haven't spent any of that yet because we're required to come up with written policies and procedures for how we're going to use it. There's only specific ways that we can use it. So at this point, it's just sitting there, and we are, as staff, has been trying to get together to sort of hammer out what we want this to look like so that we can bring it to council for approval of those policies and procedures. And then we'll go through a process to approve how we want to spend the money. But we have to spend all of it by the end of I think we have to have all of it appropriated by the end of 2024 and then spent by the end of 2026, or else we have to give it back. But we will figure out how to spend it before then. We just have to follow the right procedures in order to be able to spend it.
And you haven't got because I'm sure a while back it was mentioned that you guys were waiting to get a list of how and what you guys can, or what we can spend the money on, I should say.
Correct.
Did we ever get a list of that?
That's what staff is working on, still getting together with those lists. The Public Works Director has come up with a list. The Police Department has come up with a list. The Fire Department has given us some things. And then there's also just things that, only particular types of things we can spend it on. So we have to be able to put all of that stuff together and come up with a written plan of how we're going to use it and how we're going to decide to use it and of how we're going to use it. So that's all coming down the pike at some point in the future, in the near future, hopefully. It is a work in progress.
And Judy was asking, this money is in our general fund?
Well, it's sitting in our general fund right now, but it doesn't all get to go to our general fund. We have to determine how to spend it. So some of it can be used for water and sewer infrastructure projects. So some of it may end up being transferred into those funds to use on those kinds of projects. But for right now, yeah, it is sitting in our general fund.
I wanted to know, how far are we on our outstanding bills on the people that have their water bills here? How many do we have that are really outstanding? Do you know, more or less?
You know, I haven't pulled a report yet this month. So let me see what we had at the end of last month. Just bear with me one moment.
Are people at least paying something on these bills
Yeah.
that are passed?
There are
Yeah.
very few, I want to say there are only 3 accounts that have had no payments since COVID happened. So those, there are very few accounts that have not made any progress. And we are still getting payments from organizations like Northwest Community Action Center that are paying off people's outstanding bills. So the problem is getting better. I would say more people are getting access to more money, but unfortunately for some of the people that had their bills paid off maybe earlier in this process, they have kind of fallen back, you know, into debt, into arrears. So there are still some issues, but it isn't as bad as it was, say, like in December. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this, on the budget finances? You all good?
All right.
Okay, we'll keep going. Thank you very much, Jameson.
Thank you, Jamie.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll keep going to G. Customer service clerk. Establish a new position for customer service clerk and salary schedule. Right. Pending approval of the salary schedule per the bargaining agreement. That's G. No.
I'll make a motion to establish new position for a customer service clerk pending approval of the salary schedule per the bargaining agreement.
Second.
I have a motion by Sophie and seconded by Vera. Is there any discussion? No discussion? Motion approved. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. All right. Staff report. Sylvia, do you have anything, Sylvia?
I thank you guys for allowing us to create the customer service clerk position. That's going to be very helpful.
Jameson?
I agree that I thank the council for listening to staff and what we needed to get our jobs done. And so thank you very much for allowing us to establish that position. That's all I have to say as well.
Jamie, attorney?
The only thing I have to report is that 2 weeks ago, I got a call from Walt Bratton that I didn't return. So I can't give you an update. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Juan, is there anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say thank you to council members and the mayor for putting on National Night Out. I guess it was a success, you know, so round of applause for you guys. I know that the public works staff also assisted, so a big thanks to them. Hopefully next year I can be part of the festivities. We don't got much other than we're still continuing in the parks and the cemetery. Hope everybody noticed there's a little bit more pressure in town. Well 6 is helping us quite a bit. Here, what we're going to be working on pretty soon is we're going to start identifying problem areas in our streets. So if you start seeing white paint around places, because those are probably the potholes that we'll be filling in later this fall. So we have to try to see, I'll get with the mayor and see what areas she wants to work on and what our budget is looking like to start repairing some of those. Other than that, unless you guys have any questions for me or.
I have a question. Did you say painting or pothole?
I mean, painting the areas that,
Where the
the
potholes
more
are.
severe potholes that we'll be filling in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They put like a circle around them
Oh,
so
okay.
they can see them
Yeah,
when they're
that'll
driving
be the
down the
ones
road.
that they're gonna keep.
Okay, well, I was gonna ask about painting the streets and signs in the park, and that hasn't been done in a long time.
Yes, so the, my understanding is the old machine was taken in for maintenance or for repair and it's no longer repairable. It's too old. I believe we have a quote from Standard Paint for almost $7,000 for a new machine. We haven't got quite that far yet, but you could also look into the company that sells the street paint and see what they have to offer as well. So,
And maybe rent one if we have to for this new school year. They used to do that every year, and they haven't done it in a long time. Striped it, the sidewalks, the crosswalks. Okay.
So all I'd just like to say is thank you. Thank all of you guys, all my council members sitting here today for going out with us, National Night Out, and helping us out. I mean, you guys don't know how much pressure you took off of me, helping out with that. You guys done an excellent job, and I know that everybody that showed up that night really had a good time. So, I just want to thank you guys for being there for me and for the people of our city, and that's about all I have to say to you. And thank you guys for allowing us to hire another person in our office. I mean, it really will help our staff a lot. So I just want to thank you guys for that as well. So any of you guys have anything you want to talk about? Judy?
How's the road coming along there? Amy? God damn it, Judy.
I know it's certainly coming along. You approved tonight on the agenda, the progress estimate. The asphalt's in, we're making progress on it. I honestly haven't talked to the project manager to know exactly where it's at, but I knew that they paved. And I think that it sounds like it's going fine and getting it done.
I was out there with him.
Okay, so I should ask you, but no, I know it's good. I looked, as I drove past it, I looked down there and so it was good to see blacktop back in there.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where they're at with the concrete. Have they done the curb ramps and stuff yet?
Yeah, they were working, I think they were, locate where the ends are.
Sure, they'd be pretty close to done there. Yeah, if they're at that, and the sidewalks in and the asphalt in and just cleaning it up and next couple weeks, probably do a punch list and get it wrapped up. So, yeah, nice to see some asphalt.
Right?
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
asphalt there.
I just, the problem trying to keep the dang cars off of there.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's been a big problem for them. It's just trying to keep the cars off of it.
Even with the signs, it says,
They drive right
They don't
down
know how
it.
to
They
read.
just drive around the sign and keep going.
Or get off and move the cones.
Yeah.
Or just drive through.
Road closed means drive around the sign.
Right. To some.
Yeah, I was out there
Okay,
with
thank
them, when they were paving.
Oh,
Well, at least for a block and a half. I was out there.
What's gonna be crazy is next year when they start Main Street, because that's gonna be a crazy situation.
here already?
that is next year, yes. And so just so you know, it is TIB, sorry.
Yeah.
It is TIB season, so we're working on an app for the city. And so what we're trying to sell TIB right now is to do some work on South Main, because Main Street job will go from Washington to South Street. The South Main's in a little better shape, and we're writing an app. This was kind of the plan all along. Last year, we applied for the city's match for this. We didn't get the match last year, we would apply for it again this year to try to be ready for next year. Because we got it on the first try, now try for that South Main, see if we can get South Main. Get South Main, it wouldn't be it's not a full reconstruction because that road's in better shape. You do the whole thing from Maple to Washington. So we'll see. We sent a draft app into the city staff and it's their duty. So
Hopefully,
we'll see what happens.
it'd be nice if the whole road was brand new.
Yeah.
Well, if there's nothing else, then we'll go ahead and call this a meeting. Adjourn this meeting at 7:34.
Good night, everyone.